Today we're going to talk about accounting for manufacturing costs, part 3, process costing. So we're going to use the weighted average method, not the FIFO method. We won't talk about the two methods. In any case, step 1 is summarize the flow of the physical units. 2, compute the output in terms of equivalent units, EUPs. Summarize total cost to account for and compute the total cost per equivalent unit, and assign the total cost to the units completed into units and ending inventory. All right. So this is what we're targeting to be able to do is under process costing is to figure out the physical units here, right? And then we're going to cost in the step 3 and 4. Notice that this is the step 1 is the flow of physical unit. Step 2 is equivalent units, and we're going to transfer in direct materials and conversion costs. And remember, I've been teaching work in process is the inventory account, and you transfer in direct materials, and conversion cost is the direct labor plus the manufacturing overhead, and we will just talk about conversion cost right there and not have to worry about the manufacturing overhead. Step 3 and 4 is taking the physical units which you calculate here, and we'll account for the cost per equivalent units. So let's look at a department, and it doesn't matter what the department is, but you're going to see in the problem you'll have a beginning work in process which they give you. They're saying that there's 0 completed as to direct materials, 70% completed as to conversion. So here is the beginning work in process. Transferred in from the previous department is 40,000, completed and transfer out 38,000, and work in process 7,000. Please note that these two is going to equal to 45,000, and these two equal 45,000. So in step 1, we'll go to step 1. You are summarizing the physical units. The beginning work in process, 5,000, which they give you, and the transfer in of 45,000. This is the flow of the physical unit. These are physical units. And units to account for. This is to account, and this is accounted for, is the completed and transfer out is 38,000, and this is ending work in process, right, is 7,000. Remember, when we do inventory account, we have beginning inventory plus the transfer in minus the ending inventory. So we're units to account for is beginning inventory plus the transferred in, and the units to account for is going to be, what is not transferred out but what's left, and the ending inventory. Please note that these two equal each other. All right. And when it says transferred out, it means that the units that are going out is 100% complete. So it's complete, transferred in at 38,000. It means it's completed in terms of the direct materials and completed in terms of the conversion costs. So again, you have work in process, and you have direct material. You have the conversion, the conversion, right? So they're completed and they're transferred out to finished goods. It's 100% when it says the key here is when it says transferred out, it means it's 100% completed in terms of direct materials and conversion costs. So if we were to look at then the next part of a problem that would be presented to you is going to give you the cost. Okay, the cost. Remember, the first part of the problem is giving you the physical units, and the second part is giving you the cost. So it's telling you the beginning work in process cost is $22,000. The conversion cost is $1,100. The transferred in from the shipping department is going to be $176,000, and direct materials added is $19,000. Conversion cost, direct labor, manufacturing overhead, total conversion cost right here, $12,935 for a total of, let's see, we need total conversion cost. Let me begin again and say that we're dealing with the conversion cost, and the conversion cost is the 22,000 transferred in, conversion cost of 1,100, beginning balance in 23,001, transferred from the shipping department 176,000, 19,000, then the direct labor and the manufacturing overhead, which is the conversion cost total of 12,093, right? And again, we're talking about the conversion cost. And so here again, once again, we have the physical units here, and now we're talking about the conversion cost. Also note that in this calculation, equivalent unit production, how the physical units are going to be used here determine the cost per equivalent units, which is dividing the total cost to account for, which is then giving you the cost per equivalent units. And again, these costs per equivalent units then come down here to the multiplied by cost per equivalent unit here, right? And then finally, the ending work in process is brought down. So do remember that this is brought down equals the same. Okay? I think this will become clearer as we work through a problem, but I just want to give you kind of a general sense of what it is we're doing. So step 2 is compute output in terms of equivalent units. And again, when the problem says equivalent units transferred out, it's 100% complete. It's 100% complete. So it said it's transferred out 38,000, and when it says it transferred out 33,000, it means it's completely done. The 38,000 was transferred out, is completely done. Well, it's completely done in terms of going direct materials and the conversion cost. All right. Now we talk about partial completed. Well, what happens is that they put in 45,000 units. Only 38,000 of those units were complete. It left in ending inventory 7,000. But those 7,000 in ending inventory aren't complete. They were transferred in, but they're not complete. And what it does is it tells you of those 7,000 that only 30% is complete. So in terms of the conversion, 30% times the 7,000 is 2,100. So in the conversion cost of these 7,000 in ending inventory, only 30% is complete, 2,170. All right. Compute the output in terms of equivalent units. So what happens is we completed again the physical units, 38,000. Well, that was transferred in, completed in terms of direct materials, completed in terms of conversion cost. It's 100% done. However, the problem says in terms of the ending inventory. The ending inventory, it's only 30% done. So this ending, okay, when it says transferred out, it means it's going out of the work in process, transferring out into another work in process or finished goods. It really doesn't matter. But when it transfers, it's 100% done. It's 100% done when it transfers from work in process 1 to work in process 2, or even the finished goods. It's 100% done. And that's when it says complete and transferred out. It's 100% done. Well, what does it mean 100% done? Well, it means it's done with all the direct materials that have been added, and it's done with terms of all of the conversion costs. What we have to deal with then, with what is left, is the ending work in process. In this case, it says 7,000 is the ending work in process. But is it all done? No, it's not. The problem will say, 50% done or 60% done. In this case, it says it's 30% done. So it's 30% times the 7,000, which gives you, in terms of conversion costs, is 2,100 done. And these are the physical units. Right? Then what we have to deal with is we have to deal with the conversion costs, right? Have to deal with the conversion cost. And so summarize the total cost to account for. So we have to account for step 3 and 4. Beginning work in process, 22,000, right? This is what the problem gave you at the beginning. 22 transferred in 22,000. Cost added 176,000. The problem gives you cost added of 176,000. So add 176. You add it together, and that's the total cost, right? Total cost to account for. Beginning inventory plus what was transferred or added into the process, right? Again, if we use the T account, it is, the beginning work, right? 22,000 plus what was added in, which was 176,000. We add that up, total to account for 198,000. Okay, now the problem tells you, right, that the direct materials was 19,000. 19,000 is the direct materials, and in terms of the conversion cost, it gives you the conversion cost, direct labor, manufacturing overhead. So if a problem only gives you direct labor and manufacturing overhead, you have to add them up to get to the conversion cost, because when you're doing the equivalent units, they deal with direct materials and the conversion, and so the conversion cost is 22. Add these up, right? Then you go back and divide by the total equivalent units. Well, what does that mean? Well, that means the physical units. And here we go. Here are the physical units. It's 45,000, which was transferred in. Direct materials was 38,000, and the conversion was 40,100. Right? Divide this number by, and you then get the cost per equivalent units. This is step 3, right? 3 and 4. So again, if you look at the whole picture, here we're dealing with the physical units, right? And we're dealing with the equivalent units right here, right? So this is transferred in, 100% complete, 100% complete, transferred. 38,000 transferred in, complete in terms of direct materials, complete in terms of conversion costs, are transferred out. Then you have to deal with the ending work in process, which is 7,000. However, the 7,000 is zero in terms of the direct materials and is only 30% done. 30% done times the 7,000, right, gives you 2,100. So that conversion is 40. You bring these units down and divide it into the cost that you have to account for, the beginning inventory cost, the transfer cost in, divide that by the number of units, and that's going to then give you the cost per equivalent unit. Then the fourth is compute the cost per equivalent unit, which again we brought down, divided into the total cost. And don't forget to add your totals over here. Add your totals. Okay. Then the final is to assign total cost to the units, and you then take the total cost per equivalent unit, which you just calculated, the cost per total equivalent unit, which you just calculated here, right? Calculate it here, bring it down here, then put in the units completed and transferred out, right? And then you're going to do the ending work process here, the same cost, right? Same cost here as here that you calculated here. Multiply times the transferred out units here, right? Transferred out, and then the equivalent units here, equivalent units right here, which is those ending inventory, the ending inventory right here, right? Bring this down here, bring this down here, and this then gives you total costs assigned to units at the ending work in process, right? And so if we were to look at this closer up, you can see that you calculated out the cost per unit, then got the cost assigned to the units completed and transferred out. That's that 100% that you transferred out of direct materials conversion. And then we have to do the ending work in process, right, which comes from the physical units, then times the equivalent units, right, equivalent units, which is the same, and multiply that times, right, multiply it times, and that gives you cost assigned to the unit work in process, right? And don't forget to add, which is there. And then if you were to look at the whole process, again, these are the physical units that you have to account for. These are the units to account for, beginning plus transferred in, total. Notice that total equals that total, which is equal to the transferred in total, right? Then you have to account for the cost, the beginning work in process, and then you have to okay, we've gone through that. So let's do a problem. So this is a problem that will be like on your exam, and let's read what the problem says. So Bright Day Painting Company prepares and packages paint products, the company has two departments, blending and packaging. So what that means is it's got two work-in-process departments. And again, it's beginning inventory plus the direct materials, direct labor, manufacturing overhead, which is the conversion cost, and they will transfer out into the second department, work in process, beginning inventory, the transfers out, and you then have minus ending inventory. Okay, and this eventually will transfer out into finished goods. So in any case, the company has the blending and the packaging. Direct materials are added at the beginning of the blending process, dyes, and at the end of the packaging process, cans. Conversion costs are incurred evenly throughout each process. Data for the month of June for the blending departments as follows. So we're talking about the blending department. So you'll have beginning work in process, 0. It has starting production, 965,000 gallons. Completed and transferred out to the packaging. So this is completed and transferred out. So this means this is 100% complete, and it's going to go out. Ending work in process, right? So here's beginning work, here's transferred out, and this is ending work in process, is 45% of the way through the blending process. So the blending process is going to be 45% times the ending work, all right? Cost. So the beginning work in process is 0. The cost added during June is direct materials and direct labor and manufacturing overhead. Well, we know that when we do the equivalent units that we are talking about the conversion cost, and so we add these two up, and the conversion cost would then be 2,821, and total cost added during June 1,065. So prepare the production June for the blending department. So this is the blending department. So what we have to do is this is what we have to fill out in order to get the equivalent units, the cost per unit here, right? And then it will ask at the end is the total cost to account for, right? So let's begin. Well, the beginning work in process, work in process is 0, right? That's the beginning work in process. They give that right here. They say they started in production was 9,600, right? 9,600 gallons was started in production. So this total physical units is 9,600 because there was no beginning work. Now it says completed, accounted for. Well, we have to account for the completed and transferred out to the packaging, which was 6,800, and we know that the physical units to account for here have got to be the same. They've got to equal. So this is going to be 96,000 here, right? But it tells us, which will mean that this would be, it tells us right here, is that the ending work in process is 2,800 gallons here. So this is 2,800 gallons here, and sure enough, you add those up and it's 9,600. So notice again that this is equal to this, right? Now, what about the direct materials, right? Completed, and transferred out. When it says transferred out, we know it's 100% done when it comes to direct materials and conversion costs. And these are the physical units. These are the flow of the physical unit. These are the physical units. So this is 6,800 gallons here completed, 6,800 gallons here in terms of the conversion costs, in terms of the direct materials. It's completed, all right? Now, what it says about the direct materials, it says that the in-process inventory is 45% of the way through the blending process. So it's 45% through the blending process, which is what? The conversion. So 45% times 2,800 is going to be 1,260. And the direct materials, it tells you that the direct materials are added at the beginning of the blending process. So this means that it has already been added here, 2,800, right? 2,800. And look, we then have the total is 9,600 when it comes to the physical direct materials, right? So it's the same, right? But in terms of the equivalent unit of production, which is here, right? Equivalent unit of production, total equivalent unit of production, it's going to be 8,060. So that's the total unit of production. So this takes care of the physical count, right? We now have to take care of the cost. So again, we look at the cost, all right? And it says that the beginning work in process, right? The beginning work in process is 0. So if the work in process is 0, there's no cost there, right? No cost right there. It says beginning work in process is 0. It says that direct materials, though, is 6,240. Cost of adding during the work during it is 6,240. Right? And it's saying that then the total cost to account for is going to be 6,240. The conversion cost, right? So this is direct materials. The conversion cost, which we added here from the problem, is $2,821. So the conversion cost is $2,821. So this is going to be $2,821, right? Then we have to add the total. The total is 9,061. The total 9,061, right? Now we have to account for the cost to account for divided by the total. Well, we know the direct materials is 6,240 and the conversion cost is 2,821. And we know then that the equivalent units, this is equivalent units of production. From here, the equivalent units of production, right? So we have to bring that down, which is going to be 9,600, and it's going to be 8,060, and we divide, and that's going to equal then 65 cents for direct materials, and the conversion is going to be 35 cents. All right. So next we have to take care of the completed and transferred out. And remember, I said that completed and transferred out means it is 100% done. So and we're talking about costs now. So equivalent units completed and transferred out will be 6,800. In terms of direct materials, conversion cost is 6,800. Oh, I'm sorry. These should be units. These are not dollars. These are units. We're going to get to the cost by multiplying to the cost per equivalent unit, which is what we had just calculated out, the cost per equivalent unit here. So that's going to be 65 cents, and this here is going to be 35 cents, right? Completed and transferred out, right? And again, this is completed and transferred out. We go back to the physical units up here. Completed and transferred out, 100% completed and transferred out. So completed and transferred out comes right here, and we then multiply it by the cost per unit, which is going to be 65, and 35, that's going to be 44,020, and this is going to be 35. That will be 2380. The total 6,800. All right. Now the last part is then ending work in process. Well, the ending work in process was 2,800 ending work in process, right? 2,800, right? And the conversion cost, right? The direct materials 28. Conversion cost is 1260 units. These are physical units. These are units, physical units, times the cost per equivalent unit. Cost per equivalent unit stays the same, 0.65, and this is 0.35. Multiply times, we'll get 1,820. This will be 4,041 for a total of 2,261, and that totals 9,061. Okay, I hope that this helps. You're going to need to know how to do this, so I would keep working on this until you've got it down cold. Thank you very much.